Morning. The emergency in LA is escalating amid the worst fire disaster the city has seen in recent history. It began on January 7. At least 16 people are now dead, among them an Australian man. More than 12,000 structures destroyed and around 150,000 people displaced. The hardest hit is in the Palisades, the first and largest fire west of Los Angeles. Around 20,000 acres reduced to ash, known for pristine views and celebrity residents now destroyed. In Pasadena and Altadena, there have been several deaths. The situation remains largely out of firefighters' control, who are now scrambling to gain as much ground as possible before high winds threaten to refuel and spread the blaze even further. In total, the fires have burnt roughly twice the size of Manhattan. That's 22,000 football fields. Incredible before and after images show the extent now of the damage. Entire communities completely levelled. America's second largest city now a city of ash, but now questions are being raised over LA's ability to respond, why there was a deadly lack of water and why the city's fire hydrants are running dry. Let's bring in former LA Fire Chief Rick Crawford for more. Good morning to you, Rick. Now, it seems like everyone here is asking the same question. Why was there no water? Can you walk us through this? Help us understand this.
Well, and one of the things is when you're assessing when you have things that do not go right, you should look back at what I call the 3 R's of crisis management, and you start with relationships. And so what is the relationship between the fire department and the water department in Los Angeles? They should be having conversations very early on before a fire breaks out. So when the weather was notified, they notified of the weather, National Weather Service delivered this particularly dangerous situation. Those conversations should have taken place, and so it would have been known that there were maybe some pumps that were offline and some reservoirs that were empty. So moving when the fire started, the firefighters were overwhelmed from the start, even if all of the water was available, just because of where the fire was located. In the northwest portion of Los Angeles, there's only 2 fire stations, and there's a minimum amount of engines and ladder trucks available. The rest of the resources will take several minutes to arrive on scene. So not having the water in that particular area, at least not adequate water supply, contributed to this emergency in a very big way. There's a series of reservoirs and lakes that feeds that area, and so one of the reservoirs was empty. Again, that conversation should have taken place before the fire, and so the firefighters are arriving on scene. They're a bit surprised, and also you don't have helicopters combined with that problem. Made this, a catastrophic situation from day one.
Rick, we know that the fire department has undergone some pretty severe budget cuts too in recent years. Has that made it even more difficult for these underprepared crews to actually fight these blazes?
Well, the budget cuts that happened recently, and even in my time in Los Angeles, I've been under several different budget cuts in Los Angeles. Budget cuts typically you don't see the effect right away, and so you usually training and auxiliary pieces around the fire department, and you still see the fire department responding to emergencies, but the public typically does not see where the budget cuts are taking place, and it's been kind of a hidden figure. In this case, with the budget cuts taking place, what it did is it hindered the Los Angeles Fire Department's ability to have extra fire trucks on the street. These fire trucks, which should have been repaired by several different mechanics, and those mechanics were cut. And so that hindered the ability for the fire department to respond from a budgetary perspective. One other additional point I'd like to make is just the staffing portion of where you can make up for that is you withhold what we call the off-going platoon. When firefighters were headed home that morning before the wind started, the fire chief had the ability to tell everyone, stay on duty and double the workforce. And that would have given some additional engines to deploy to that area before the fire started.
Yep, and of course, we know that conditions are now set to change in the coming days as well. This firefight is still very far from over. Thanks for your time, Rick. Here's Eddie.